Hello, I'm Steve Oliver, and what you are about to watch is an interview that I did in 2012 with the comedian Alexei Sayle. It's something I found during lockdown. I've been going through all my old USB sticks and files to try and find things. There's my phone. To try and find things to put on YouTube, and at the same time to store them onto DVDs for protection and archiving. And I found this interview. It was originally meant to be sort of like a pilot, really, for a regular series in which I talked to comedians visiting Nottingham, but unfortunately it didn't pick up. I sort of lost interest in the project, having tried to get people involved. When one of the founding fathers of modern comedy says yes instantly, and some pipsqueak from a panel show is far too busy, I just lost interest in trying to get people on board. Alexei Sayle, one of my comedy heroes, did not let me down. They say don't meet your heroes, but man, this was one of the most pleasurable meetings I've ever had. And him and his wife Linda were brilliant company, absolute sweethearts. You can see I hadn't been working in the media for very long when I did this interview, and you can see just how fucking nervous I was. So it's not my best interview, but the conversation I had with Alexei was fantastic. I'm so pleased to have found this, and I hope you enjoy it. It was on the eve of the gig. It was just beforehand. There's a slight bit of background noise because I think his dressing room was quite close to the kitchens, but he was absolutely gracious. He was fantastic, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's not a very long interview. I didn't want to waste too much of his time, but he then went on to perform a fantastic show. This took place at the Glee Club in Nottingham, by the way, and they allowed me to leave my recording equipment in the dressing room, so I had to go back after the show. And as I walked in, Lexi came out, just walked towards me, and I hugged him, and I said, I never have to see stand-up again because I've seen the fucking master at it. And I think he liked that. He was, like I said, absolutely fantastic company. Him and Linda were brilliant. And I'll stop gushing now and let you watch this from 2012, me interviewing badly Alexei Sayle, who was good. I was bad. Thank you. Thanks ever so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
First of all, I want to ask, this is your first live work in 16 years.
Yeah. First tour actually in the UK. Where are you taking the sound from, by the way?
It's on there.
It's on there.
And it's completely unedited as well, so what stays in? What I want to ask is, I mean, there's a lot of people getting back into doing stand-up now. I mean, obviously you're a well-known author now and all the rest of it. So is there a pull? Are you always, at heart, are you always a comedian?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I mean, I always said, even when I thought I would never go back to it, that I always felt, you know, if I was anything, I was a comic, really, that I feel a kind of a sense of, you know, fellow feeling with comedians, that I never felt with fellow authors, for example, really. A sense of belonging. So, you know, and even when I never thought I was going to do it again, I always still felt ultimately a comic, I think. So yeah, you know, and I think my default position is always towards the comedic, you know. I mean, I always try and make a joke, you know, even if I'm, you know, addressing the United Nations. Or you know, so there's always that as well, that you are always kind of, you know, your inclination is always to make a joke.
So, and how does being on tour now differ from when you were doing it before in the early 80s and...
even the mid-90s.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it's different, obviously, for me, in that this is a lot smaller, you know. I mean, I think the last tour I did in the UK, there was 10 people, you know, costume, sound, dancing girls, music, stuff like that. So this is much more small scale. You know, no tour manager or anything. You know, we're just driving. You know, I'm just driving myself. I'm playing these small clubs. But I find that very liberating, really. I mean, it's not, you know, there's no. When I was playing the big houses, you know, it was always an effort to fill them. Actually, not in Nottingham. Nottingham was always the first all the tours I've ever did, that Nottingham was always the first one to sell out. I think the concert hall was 1,000, 2,000, something like that. Yeah. But you know, but there's no stress about whether they're full or not. And in fact, most of them have been, but you know, and it's just intimate venues and mixture of kind of clubs like this and arts centres and stuff. And it's nice, you know. It's much less aggravating, you know. And I guess I'm less wound up. It's nice.
How does it differ? How does the comedy scene differ now? Then, I mean, for a young, if you were starting out now with the likes of Mock the Week and Live at the Apollo and things like that, would you find it easier to get recognition, or would you still struggle? Do you think? Or
I honestly, I don't. I think if I was starting out now, I don't know whether I would be a comedian. Really, I think it's. I don't know. I'd feel. I think I'd feel very ambiguous about it now because it's. I mean, this is not criticism. I'm just saying it's such an industry now with a kind of hierarchy and, like you say, this kind of mock. I mean, I would certainly, if I was the kind of comedian, if I was coming through now, I would not be the kind of comedian that went on Mock the Week or Live at the Apollo. I would be a kind of Robin Ince, Stuart Lee, Josie Long.
You'd still want to be the outside.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have anything to do with that. Well, yeah, I say that. Probably, you know, I probably would not be desperate to be on Mock. Oh, why aren't I on Mock the Week? You know, but then when I got on there, I kind of, you know, I'd do something to fuck it up. So, you know, but I would imagine I would be, you know, that kind of niche comedian. But on the other hand, I think that's kind of problematic about it. I mean, and this is just an accident of timing, but when I was starting, we were all of it, you know, and so there wasn't these kind of gradations, you know, you weren't this kind of comedian or that kind of comedian. You could be mainstream, but still be experimental, and I think that's a bit more of a kind of complex proposition now, you know. I mean, the shows that we did, like the Young Ones or like Alexei Sayle stuff, were on BBC Two. Yeah, I went out after Top Gear and used to get 5-6 million views, you know. Doing very experimental comedy. You can't do that now because things are much more narrow, I think.
The BBC are a lot more compliant.
They're a lot, yeah, the BBC are a lot, yeah.
Something like the Young Ones wouldn't get made now.
Well, it might get made, but on some BBC 12 or something. I don't know. I mean, inventive shit still gets made, but it's just more, you know, it's just more different. You know, it's more. There's more annoying executives and that. Yeah, it's more problematic. But
you just name checked Stuart Lee and Robin Ince among others. How, you know, are they sort of people that you would keep an eye on these days? Who are you watching now?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the first of the new generation that I got to know was Robin Ince, really, because I you know, deliberately didn't know anything about the scene at all. It was all a complete mystery to me, and so I got to know Robin just, I think, doing like the Boys Book Club or something like that. And then from that, I did a show last year with Stuart at the Royal that he curated called the Last 1981 Show. And that gave me the idea that, you know, it might be possible for me to do stand-up in a different way. And so then I spent all that summer and autumn going around the circuit, really just seeing what there was. We were just looking at stuff with a friend of mine called Josh Howe. And but yeah, I mean, Stuart, you know, Stuart seems to have defined a way to do it, you know, with integrity and to do interesting material, but still be a big draw, you know, and his material's very original, you know. He is certainly the you know, I think he's somebody who's worked out in life, and I'm not somebody who says that about anybody really. Aung San Suu Kyi, sell out.
The comic strip recently got back together.
Yeah.
Were you asked?
No. No. I don't know whether Pete. He sort of said, the one they made before with Stephen Mangan, the Tony Blair one, he said, do you want to be in that? And I said, yeah, right, whatever. And then he said, oh, I had to, the people who were paying for it said I had to cast it with the younger set. So no, I really don't.
Thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, I mean, it's not. I'm very fond. I mean, I'm fond of all those people. I'm still very good friends with Nigel. Well, I think he's often actually the best in those the later comic strip films. But I'm very fond of Peter as well. I was at his daughter's wedding a few months ago. But you know, those making stuff.
So you're not into it? You did an interview recently where you said that there wouldn't be a live DVD or anything like that. So
no, I hope. But I mean, you can never. I can never really entirely, kind of, be certain of my own craven nature. But I mean, for me, it's my idea is that this is just, it is only for this live arena, and I don't want. I'm not interested in making a DVD out of it. And certainly one of the things that, or doing it on telly or anything, or even doing it at benefits or doing it, I only want to do it in places where people have come to see me. I've thought about it, I don't want to do any of it anywhere else. But also the thing that interests me is taking bits of material and slowly kind of evolving them. And I think if you put, I think one of the problems of, for comics today is when you put all your material on a DVD and then it's gone really. And sometimes I think you could hone it for longer really. I mean this is a kind of political rationale for hanging on to old material, but I don't want to, I want to sort of work this stuff. If I'm going to do it, which is still not definitely. If I do it, I will gradually evolve this material. So pieces turn into other things and gradually get dropped, kind of naturally because you've had enough of them, but not just because you've loaded them all on the DVD.
We'll let you get on with it. Let you get ready.
That's okay.
This is in the very first one. Hopefully it went well.
That's I think it's one for the comedy fan, really. But yeah.
Well, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
So, Alexei Sayle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.